Thank you very much. Welcome you to Medzone African Motives. I want us to look at business studies grade level. So we are going to do preparations and revision for term one test that you are going to write soon. So we are going to prepare ourselves with the previous question paper that was written in Limpopo. So this is an essay. We are going to treat an essay questions. So this is the paper that we did in our previous presentation. So this is the last part of that paper. So which is section C. So that is what we are going to be mainly looking at, the essay question. So this paper, like I've said, it was written in March 2025. So the total marks were 100 marks, but for essay, we know very well that you're going to get 40 marks. You have to choose one question, but as we are preparing, we are going to make sure that we are going to answer all the questions. So without wasting much time, let's quickly go to our section C. As it says, answer one question in this section. But I've said you're going to attend to them all. So this is that. Note, clearly indicate the question number of each question chosen. So the answer to the question must start on a new page, e.g. question 5 on a new page, or question 6 on a new page. So that is that. So now let us start with question 5, which is business environments. So now we are to read this scenario that is given before we can write our essay. As it says, the market and macro environments pose many challenges on business operations. Business should have a clear understanding of various components of business environments. They are involved and way to be involved to their benefits. So that is that. So now you are to write an essay on the market and the macro environment on the following aspects. So these are the aspects that we are given. So we are going to write our essay based on these given aspects. The first aspect says outline the components of the macro environment. Outline the components of the macro environment. So let's quickly go to our answers for that. But what we are to know is that before we can start our essay, we first have to start with introduction. We first have to start with the introduction. So on our given answers, here is our introduction. So the points given under introduction, the first one says the macro environment is part of external business environment as it falls immediately outside the business. So what it means is that this includes factors outside the business that influence what? The business operation. So that is that. For example, government laws affecting business rules. So that is outside the business. But that can influence the business operation. That can affect the business operations. So that's that. The second point says business have no control over the challenges of the macro environment, rather need to adapt to it. So we're saying business have no control over macro environment challenges. So what it means is that companies cannot change national or global factors. For example, inflation affecting product prices. The business or companies, they have no control on that. All they do is they need to adapt to it. Now we move on. Business has less or partial control over challenges of the market environment. So now we are on market environment, where we are seeing our business has what? Limited or less or partial control on market environment. So it means all they can do is to influence, but they don't have control. Because what it says is that business can influence competitors, customers, suppliers. These are the components of the market environment. They can influence them. But remember, they don't have control. They have less or partial control on that. For example, improving product quality to compete. So you see, this is how you can try by all means to influence your customers to come and buy from your store because of the quality product that will be improved. So that is that. Now we move on. Business should choose a way to get involved in the macro environment that suits their business. That is when you're talking about that adaptation. Business must adapt to macro environment. So many companies must adjust strategies to survive changes. Come up with the strategies so that we can survive changes in the macro environment, because you cannot change anything at all as an individual person or a company or business. So that is that. So now let us move on to our body now. So here, a relevant introduction related to components or challenges of the business market or macro environment is accepted. So all you were to give introduction basing yourself on a macro environment as well as market environment. So we are together on that. So now let us move on to another aspect. The first aspect that we are given after the introduction. So the first aspect that we are given is that outline the components of macro environment. Now we are going to talk about the components of macro environment. Let's quickly go to our answers. So here we are on our answers. The components of the macro environment. The components of the macro environment. It says physical, natural environment or forces. Those are present in the natural environments, and the availability of natural resources and sustainability of mineral resources. Here we're talking about physical or natural environment. We're talking about physical or natural environment. So what it means is that natural resources and environmental conditions affecting the business. We're talking about natural resources and environmental conditions affecting the business. For example, water shortages affecting farming. So that is that. Water shortages affecting farming. Now it further on says economic environment, global or local economic forces, government, monetary and physical policies that have direct impact. Remember, we're talking about what? Components of macro environment. So economic environment as well. That is when we are saying economic conditions and government financial policies. For example, interest rate increases, it reduces consumer spending. So that is that. Coming to social, coming today to the next point, social, cultural, or demographic environment or people and factors that influence and direct consumer behavior includes people, cultural backgrounds, and income levels. So here we're talking about social, cultural, demographic environment. So here we are talking about the population trends and cultural values influencing buying behavior. For example, the growing demand for eco-friendly products. That is that. Now moving on, technological environment or new technologies that that created fourth industrial revolution. So here we're talking about new technologies that change business operations. We can make an example of use of AI in consumer services. So that's that. Now also moving on, we have legal, political, and all the laws and legislation that business must comply with, or regulations passed by government influence the way in which business operate. This means is that when you're talking about legal, political environment, we're talking about laws and regulations business must follow. For example, minimum wage laws affecting payroll. So that is that. So now we have international or global environment or global and international forces that influence business operations or business having to keep up with global trends or international trading relations. So with this one, we are talking about international or global environment. So what it means is that global trade and international market influences. So we are talking of global trade and international market influences. For example, exchange rate changes affecting exports. So let's start. Moving on now, we have institutional environment, institutions that provide a series of services to business enterprises or government that consumes or provide goods and services. Here we are talking about institutional environment. So meaning to say institutions providing support and service to businesses. For example, banks offering business loans. Hope you're together. So any relevant answers relating to the components of the macro environment is accepted. So that is that. So now let us move on to the other aspect that is given under question 5, business environments. So the other aspect says explain the reasons why business have less control over the market environment and no control over the macro environment. So that's that. So here we are on those reasons. So here we are on reasons why business have less control over the market environment and no control over macro environment. So we're starting with market environment on our answers. So market environment, it says, the market environment refers to the influences that have an impact on the business in informing and keeping sustainable businesses, such as competition and suppliers. So that's what we're talking about what? The market environment. Like we can talk about competition that affects business success. Meaning to say we're saying rival business influences sales and profits. For example, two supermarkets competing on price. So that's that when you're talking about what? The influences that have an impact on the success in forming and keeping sustainable business, such as competition and suppliers. So it further on says business can influence the competitors by increasing the quality of their products in relation with competitor. Remember, we have said it is what? Less or limited control. All they can do is they can influence their competitors by the increase of what? Quality of their products. That's what it means. So it means business can influence competitors through quality. They can do that through quality. How so? That is whereby they are improving their products so that they can attract more customers. So we are together on that. Now moving on, the opposite can also be that suppliers' raw materials can influence the quality of business products. So that's that. We're talking of what? The suppliers affect product quality. Meaning to say, poor raw materials reduce product quality. That is that. For example, cheap fabric lowering clothing quality. So hope we are together. So any relevant answer is accepted. So now let us move on to macro environment now. Macro environment. So with macro environment, as it says, the market environment refers to the major external uncontrollable factors. Remember, we've said under macro environment, the business has no control at all, that influence an organization decision making. So we are saying macro environment includes uncontrollable external factors. We are saying macro environment includes a uncontrollable external factors. So it means external forces affecting business decision. Like we can talk about government policy changing like that. So that's that. So also it says these factors include the economic or demographics or legal or political or social conditions, technological changes, as well as natural forces. So as you have said, it includes economic, legal, political, social, technological factors. It means these factors shape business operations. These factors that we've talked about, they shape what? Business operations. We are saying those factors shape business operations. They shape business operations. So, for example, new tax laws increasing cost. So you see, that is that. That's when we talk about the legal. Now moving on, as it says, the above mentioned factors affect business performance and strategies. That is true. These factors influence business performance and strategies. Because business must adjust plans based on changes. Because business must adjust plans based on changes. For example, digital marketing replacing the traditional advertisement. So you have to adjust the plans based on the changes. The external environment conditions that affect business are generally beyond control of management and change constantly. So we are saying external conditions change constantly, meaning to say business must stay flexible. That is that. So any relevant answer is accepted. So now let us move on to challenges of market environment. Challenges of market environment. Then the first challenge is competition. The first challenge is competition. So now we are going to be on competition. As it says, other business which sell similar substitute products pose a problem to or threaten the success of the business. So competitors selling similar products threaten success, as customers may choose rivals instead. So customers may choose rivals instead. For example, two fast food chains selling burgers. You see, that is that. It is difficult to compete with business selling the same products and services in a certain countries. Hard to compete with business selling the same products. So it means price and quality competition increases pressure. That's what it means. That is what it means. So now let us move on. If business is not able to match the quality of service or products and the price of its competitors, it will be in real danger. Remember, we're still under the challenges of the market environment as one of the aspect that we are asked to talk about. So now we are saying business unable to match competitors' price or quality risk failure. So many customers prefer better value. Customers prefer better value. For example, a phone brand losing customers due to higher prices. That is what we say. If business is not able to match quality of service or products and the price of its competitors, such a business will be in real danger. The challenges around competitors can be industry rivalry, where the business aims to sell more than competitors or new entry with better products or cheaper or better substitute. So it means industry rivalry and new entries increase competition. Meaning to say new business can attract customers. So that is a challenge when it comes to market environment under competition. Another challenge is that business could find that they are unable to make sufficient profit when the demand is not high enough to support the supply of the same goods or service. So here that is when you're talking about what? A low demand reduces profit. That is in short what you're trying to say. Low demand reduces what? Profit. Too many products with fewer buyers lowers income. Hope we are together. Now it further all talks about essential for a business to have regular supply of all the materials that are inputs in the production processes. So here we are talking about business need reliable suppliers. That is that. Business need reliable suppliers. Production depends on a steady material supply. So that is why they are saying it's important for a business to have regular supply of all materials that are inputs in the production process. So that is that. Here, dissatisfied customers can damage the reputation and threaten the future of the business. So dissatisfied customers can damage reputation. So negative reviews reduces customer trust. So that is that. So now let us move on to the challenge, which is socio-cultural factors. Socio-cultural factors. As it says, socio-cultural factors describe the common behavior and attitudes of particular society. Meaning to say we are talking about meaning to say these factors refer to how people in a society think, behave, live, and what they value. For example, in South Africa, many people value community and family. So business sell products in bulk for family use. So that is that. So it further on says, as a society changes, so will the cultural values and practices of individuals. So it means when lifestyle, beliefs, or technology change, or people's habits and preferences also change. So that is that. So now let us move on. Let us move on to another point. As it says, business must be aware of change and that they can avoid threats and take advantage of the new opportunities that the change may present. So here we are talking about that business must be aware of change to avoid threats and take advantage of opportunities. So meaning to say business need to monitor changes in society so they can reduce risk and benefit from new trends. So that is what, in short, says. Business should be aware of social trends and influential campaigns that promote buying. So here we are trying to see social trends and advertising campaigns influence consumer buying behavior. That is, in short, how we can make it easy. The challenge is to gather information about changes and respond to them by adapting practices to maintain and increase its customer base. So that is that. We are saying a challenge is to gather information about changes and respond by adapting practices. So it means that business must research changes and adjust their operations to keep customers. So any relevant answer is accepted. So now let us go to another aspect. So another aspect after we have discussed this competition and social cultural factors. So another aspect is suggest ways in which business can overcome competition in market. So here we are. Ways in which business can overcome competition in the market. This is where we are now. So, as it says, management must ensure that business differentiates itself from the competitors by tapping into what customers need. So it means by responding to customer. That is how you are going to get competitive advantage. So it means business make their products or services unique to attract customers. That is that. To attract what? Customers. Also, it fell on say offering more personal service by by being responsive to customers' needs and expectations. So this is whereby you attend to the problems of customers. This is whereby you are responsive to the needs of the customers. That is how you can overcome competition. So it means that extra need to say it means that giving customers individual attention improves what loyalty. So that's that. Also, it fell on say offering low cost extras such as improved credit terms, discounts, loyalty schemes, and etc. So here that is why we are saying you offer low cost extras like discounts, loyalty schemes, like that. It means we're talking about extra benefits which encourages customers to keep buying from the business. So that is that. Now let us move on. Charging the lower price than that of the other business. That actually can give you what? A competitive advantage. This is where you are lowering prices to attract price sensitive customers. Because you know there are customers that buys based on price, while others buys based on quality. So for those who are buying based on prices, this is how you can make it easy for them. So let us move on. Selling products of superior quality or new products or services that the customers might be interested in. So here, this is whereby we are trying to say you're selling superior quality or new product or services. So high quality or innovative products give business an advantage. So that is that. Now let us move on. By being best employer that has well-trained and knowledgeable staff members that create better working atmosphere. So this is employing well-trained and knowledgeable staff. So we are trying to say skilled staff provide better service and improve the business image. And that will give you what? A competitive advantage. That is that. Stepping up the marketing of the business by using promotional ideas such as posters, campaigns, or social media. So this one, that is how you are increasing marketing. Increase marketing by using promotions, social medias. So it means advertising helps attract new customers and increases sales. And this is how the business can overcome competition. It further on say updating the image of the business, such as painting the front of the premises, making the business look modern and inviting. So here we are talking about whereby you are updating the image of the business. You are updating the image of the business. So modern and attractive premises make the business more appealing. So that updating of the image is very important. Keeping up with developments in the sector of the business sector, following consumer trends, investing in a new technology. So here you keep up with developments and investing in a new technology. So using new technology helps the business stay competitive. Hope you get. Improving on customer service and keeping them happy. Improving customer service and keeping customers happy, it means good customer service increases repeat business, repeat purchases. They will come again. So that is that. So any relevant answer to the ways in which business can overcome market competition is accepted. So now you know when you're writing essay, we first start by introduction and then we come to the body whereby we explain the aspects and then we conclude. So now we are to be on our conclusion. Now we are to conclude. So the conclusion that we're giving, the point that we're giving under conclusion is that business must be aware of all the components of the macro market as well as macro environment. So it means all business environments affect how business operates. That is that. That is that. Now moving further on is that business have to pay careful attention to the challenges from the macro environment and then diverse strategies to respond to these challenges. So we need to see external factors like laws, economic changes require strategic planning. Businesses that are involved in the macro environment will benefit in the short and in the long run. So here we are talking about business involved in the macro environment benefit the short and long term. So it means adapting to external changes help the business survive and grow. So any relevant conclusion related to components and challenges of the business, market, and macro environment is accepted. So now we are to go to question 6 now. Let us attempt question 6. So here we are on our question 6. Also, it is a scenario that we are to go through, as it says, all business strive for an environment where there are good labor relations between the community, the employer, and employee. So, cordial relationships with trade unions lead to higher productivity, profitability, and the absence of industrial actions. Business should also undertake projects that can benefit the community in which they operate. So these are what you're going to talk about. Now it says, write an essay on adapting challenges of the business environment in which you include the following aspect. Outline the roles of trade unions in the workplace. Discuss the purpose of Labor Relations Act. Explain the functions of trade unions. Recommend projects that can be undertaken by business as part of responsibility. So that is that. Question 5. We are going to first start by the introduction. We are first going to start by the introduction. So you know that when writing essay, we first start by the introduction, then come to the body, whereby we explain what the aspects that are given, like the ones that we just read now. So let's quickly go to the answers that are given under question 6. Question 6. So here we are on answers of question 6. Like we've said, you're going to first start by the introduction. So on our introduction, as it says, various role players, for example, government, employer organizations, and labor unions influence the economy. So it means that different groups such as government, employers, and labor unions affect how the economy operates. For example, government increases value-added tax, VAT, which affects business prices and consumer spending. So that's what it means. It further on says the business community aims to produce goods and services in order to maximize profits. So what it means is that a business produce goods and services mainly to earn profit and grow. That is why it says business community aims to produce goods and services to maximize profits. Hope you to get on that. Employees join trade unions so that they can have some influence on the improvement of working conditions. We are saying employees join trade unions to influence working conditions. So that is that. Workers join unions to collectively improve wages and working conditions. Business have the responsibility to become more socially responsible by giving back to their communities. So we're talking about business being socially responsible. So business, you know very well, business should give back to the community and consider social welfare. So any relevant answer to any other relevant introduction related to a project that can be undertaken by business as a part of social responsibility. So the other aspect that we have to talk about is the roles of trade unions. Roles of trade unions. So it says serves as a mechanism through which employees have a collective voice in the workplace. So it means it provides employees with collective voice. It means it provides employees with what? Collective voice. So it means that trade unions allow workers to speak together instead of individually. So that is that. For example, workers using union to request safety, to request what? Salary increase. So that is that. Unions communicate to the company's management. To the company's management, the members' grievances such as unfair dismissal, low wages and conditions of services. So it means unions report unfair treatment or complaints to employers. That is how simple this point is. They ensure that employers include employees in the decision-making process. So, meaning to say they ensure employee participation in decision-making. So unions help employees take part in the workplace decisions. That is that. They also ensure that employees are treated fairly and respected. So that is that. They ensure fair, respectful treatment of employees, meaning to say unions protect workers from discrimination and unfair practices. Unions are involved with social dialogue regarding poverty alleviation, job creation, and wealth distribution. So that is that. Meaning to say, we are talking about the involved in social dialogue. So unions discuss national issues like poverty and job creation. So that is that. So now we are moving to another aspect that we were asked to talk about. Another aspect that we are asked to talk about, which is purpose of Labor Relation Act. The purpose of the Labor Relation Act. That is another aspect that we were asked to talk about. Purpose of labor relation. It says it provides framework where the employees, trade unions, and employers work together to discuss matters relating to employment. For example, wages, conditions of employment. So what it means is that, as we are saying, it provides framework for cooperation. It means that LRA guides how employees and employers and unions work together. So that is that. For example, employers and unions meet to discuss wage agreements. Hope you get on that. Then it said it promotes orderly negotiations and employee participation in decision making in the workplace. So here when we are saying it promotes orderly negotiations and participation, we are trying to say it encourages structured discussions instead of conflict. Get me straight. It encourages structured discussions instead of conflict. For example, workers negotiate through collective bargaining. That is that. Promotes resolution of labor disputes. It promotes resolution of labor disputes. Meaning to say it helps solve workplace conflicts peacefully. That is that. Promotes fair employment practices. So it means that it ensures fairness in hiring, promotion, and dismissal. For example, an employee is given fair disciplinary hearing. That's when it means that promotes fair employment practices. Hope you're together. Outlines the relationship between employee and employers. So it divides the rights and duties of both parties. We'll get together. Now we move on. Provide simple procedures for the registration of trade unions and employees organization. So we need to see it makes it easy to register unions and employer organizations. Regulates now the rights of trade unions and facilitates collective bargaining. So what it means when it talks of regulating the rights of unions and collective bargaining, it means that it protects unions' rights to negotiate. That is that. Also regulates the effectiveness of bargaining councils and the statutory councils. So it regulates bargaining councils now. So it controls how bargaining councils operate. So that is that. Establish workplace forums to promote the interest of all employees in the workplace, whether they belong to the trade union or not. So it established workplace forums. The committee, that is a committee that talked about that. It's a committee that is formed by the employees so that their views are going to be heard or are going to be taken to the management. That is where we are saying it established workplace. So, meaning to say, it encourages cooperation between employer and employees. So that is that. Now we are moving on to another point. Moving on to another point where it says it established the Commission for Conciliation, Mediation, and Arbitration, CCMA, to resolve labor disputes through statutory reconciliation, mediation, and arbitration. So we know CCMA is where the disputes can be cheaply resolved and whereby they can also be quickly um, resolved. So also it says it endorses the right to strike against retrenchments and facilitate labor disputes. So that's that. It establishes labor courts and labor courts of appeal to deal with what? Labor issues. Deals with strikes and lockouts and workplace forums. So that's that. It also establishes workplace forums to promote the interest of all employees in the workplace, whether they belong to the trade union or not. It also advances economic development, social justice, labor, peace, to ensure the workplace maintains the basic rights of the employees. So any relevant answer related to the purpose of Labor Relations Act is acceptable. So now let us go to another aspect whereby we are asked to give functions of trade unions. Functions of trade unions. So we are on functions of trade unions. The first one says protecting their members against unfair labor practices in the workplace. Meaning to say unions defend workers' rights at work. Unions defend workers' rights at work. That is that, for example, a union challenges unfair demotion. So that is how we can make it easy. Empowering employees by educating them regarding their rights in the workplace. How to apply these rights. So it's one of the functions of the trade unions. So this means that they teach workers about laws and rights. They teach workers about laws and rights. Representing employees in the meetings with their employers when they face workplace grievances and dispute, representing employees corporately and as well as individually. So we are saying they represent employees in grievances as well as disputes. It means they act on behalf of workers in conflicts. Hope you're still on one page. Grade levels. Negotiating and or influencing management for better working conditions, salary or wages, and other benefits to improve the standard of living for workers, or improving material benefits of their members. So here we're talking about negotiate better working conditions. So it means we're talking of budget for higher wages as well as benefits. That is that. Protecting employees against or from unfair dismissal of labor practices. So it means that they ensure dismissal follow legal procedure. They make sure that the dismissal follow legal procedure. Taking legal action on behalf of their members when necessary. So this means unions can go to court on behalf of their members. That is that. Protecting or advancing the interest of workers. Advance workers' interest. It means they promote job security and fair treatment. Representing the interest of general society, minority groups through media and negotiations. So they represent general society and minority groups. So what it means is that they protect vulnerable workers' interest. So that is that. Influencing government decisions. So it means that we're talking about whereby you shape labor-related laws and policies. So that is that. Providing benefits and educational facility to members. So they are providing benefits and educational facilities. It means they offer training and support to members. Providing legal and financial advice. meaning to say they help members with legal or money matters. Supporting and promoting gender equality in the workplace, meaning to say they ensure equal treatment of all genders. Protecting members in times of retrenchment and disciplinary hearings. So they protect members during retrenchments. So they ensure that fair retrenchment processes. Protecting the interest of their members during disciplinary procedures. So it means that they, what they do, they protect their members during disciplinary procedures. So that is that. Now we are to move on. So as we are saying, they protect members during disciplinary procedures. It means they ensure fairness in disciplinary hearings. So let us move on to the other aspect that we asked to talk about. Projects that can be undertaken by business as part of social responsibility. We are under the projects that can be undertaken by business as part of social responsibility. Business must allow employees to get involved in social development programs. So it means they can do that by encouraging staff to participate in community upliftment activities. For example, employees volunteer to help build houses for the poor. So that is that. Business must protect the environment and participate in the community upliftment programs. So here we say, protect the environment and participate in community upliftment programs. So it means business reduce environmental damage and improve community well-being. For example, a company plants trees in the local community. That is that. Encourage environmentally friendly campaigns such as recycling or reusing scarce resources. So they're going to do that by making sure that they're going to promote sustainable use of resources. Business must support less fortunate people by providing donations to charity organizations, charitable contribution towards this business or business can donate blankets to old age homes, running soup kitchens. So that is support to less fortunate people through donations and charities. So it means business must provide a financial or material assistance to those in need. They can also engage in economic development and provide education on HIV and AIDS awareness programs. So it means business support health education, support health education and economic growth in the communities. So that is that. Involvement in continuity education and build schools in communities and offer bursaries to needy students. Donate all computers to less privileged schools. Provide or support adult education and training in the local community. So we're talking about the involvement in the community education. So it means business support. Business must support education and skills development in communities. For example, offering bursaries to needy students. That is that. Teach entrepreneurial skills or offer support to individuals starting new business ventures. So it means business must help individuals start and manage their own businesses. Conduct development or job creation projects offering briefly courses. So they conduct skills development or job creation projects. Business equip people with practical skills to improve employment opportunities, like as they're talking about offering bricklaying or plumbing courses. Sponsor art or cultural programs such as school choirs. Here, we're talking about sponsor art and cultural program or school choirs. So it means business promote culture, creativity, and talent development by so doing. Support youth programs such as sports, recreational activities. So business encourage positive youth development. So that is that. For example, sponsoring a community soccer league. So that is how you support programs such as sport, recreational activities. So that is that. So now let us conclude our essay. Let us give our essay a conclusion. Like we've said, you don't have to make any mistake of not giving conclusion. So here are our answers for conclusion. Adapting to challenges of the business environment can be achieved by business if management stay abreast with the latest development. So here we're talking about managers must keep up with new trends and changes to remain competitive. So that is that. Social responsibility projects undertaken by business can be used as a marketing strategy to promote the product. So it means that CSR, corporate social responsibility, improves the business public image and attracts what? Customers. Strikes represent the final stage of dispute or disagreement between management and employees and should be avoided at all costs. So it means strikes occur when negotiations fail and should be avoided. Trade unions are involved in ways to address poverty, reduction, job creation, and ways to create more equitable income and wealth distribution. So here, trade unions protect workers' rights and promote fair wages. That is that. So this is the end of this presentation. Thank you very much for your time. Please, grade 11s, make use of this essay as it will help you to prepare for your term 1 test that you are going to write. So that is that. Thank you very much for your time. Please don't forget to hit the subscription button and share with others. Thank you.